Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Christmas plaid throw blanket. This blanket measures approximately 36 inches wide by 55 inches long. However, you can always change up the sizing of this blanket to suit your needs. This looks very complicated, but it's actually a very easy stitch to learn. So let's begin making the Christmas plaid throw. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need 2 skeins of each of these 3 colors. And the yarn that I'm using today is called I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. Each skein is 7 ounces or 199 grams. It's 355 yards or 325 meters, and it is 100% acrylic. This is considered a number 4 worsted weight yarn, and it is machine washable and dryable. The recommended hook size is a US I9 or 5.5 millimeter. And I'm using Cranberry, which is this nice deep red color. So 2 skeins of Cranberry. You're also going to need 2 skeins of linen, which is kind of like an off-white color. And finally, you're going to need 2 skeins of forest, which is this deep green color. So 2 skeins of each of those 3 colors. And I'm going to be bumping up my hook size to a US J10 or 6 millimeter crochet hook. Just because we're going to be working in a plaid pattern, I just wanted to make sure that my stitches were a little bit more consistent with my tension. So grab your hook, grab your yarn, and let's begin today's tutorial. Okay, so for my blanket, I'm going to be making a chain of 137. I wanted it to be a nice size blanket to cuddle up under. However, if you wanted to change the sizing of your blanket, you're going to need to chain in any multiple of 6 plus 5. So either chain 137 or any multiple of 6 plus 5 if you like your blanket bigger or smaller. And you're going to be starting with the Cranberry red color. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue until you have 137 chains or any multiple of 6 plus 5. Okay, so I have my 137 chains. I highly recommend doing a double stitch count just because we have so many chains. For row 1, we're going to make a double crochet into the 4th chain from our hook, and to do that, you're not going to count the loop on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in that 4th chain you're going to yarn over your hook, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your double crochet. You're going to make a double crochet into the next chain. So one more time, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're going to have 2 double crochets and that skipped stitch at the beginning, which is your chain 3. So once you have your chain 3, go ahead and insert a stitch marker. So you're going to count 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3, and right here is where you're going to insert your stitch marker. Inserting your stitch marker at the very beginning and at the very end of your row is going to help keep your ends nice and even. So again, find that chain 3, count up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and put your stitch marker right here where my thumb is. Okay, so now we're going to start the repeat. So go ahead and chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip 3 chains and we're going to go ahead and double crochet into the next 3 chains. So skip 3, 1, 2, and 3, and in the chain after that, make 1 double crochet in the next 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3, and that is what your work will look like. And again, you're just going to repeat this all the way across. So chain 3, skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, and 3, and in the chain after that, make 1 double crochet in the next 3 chains. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Chain 3, skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, and 3, and in the chain after that, make 1 double crochet into the next 3 chains. Okay, so this is what your work is going to start to look like. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across into the end of your row. When you get to the end of your row, you should have a total of 69 double crochets. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of my row and I have one more section left with the 3 double crochets. So I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, and 3, and go ahead and make my final 3 double crochets. Again, you should have a total of 69 double crochets for row 1. Okay, so your row is going to look like this. And to move on to row 2, we're not going to fasten off our red color, we're simply just going to drop it. So with this blanket, because we're working in that plaid pattern, you're just going to drop your yarn and you're going to carry up the yarn on the side of your blanket. And not to worry, we are going to put a border on this to hide the ends. And just finish your last double crochet, but instead of yarning over with that red color, you're going to get your new color, which in this pattern is going to be the green color. Leave a little bit of a tail and simply finish with that green color. I like to get both of my ends and give it a little bit of a tug. Now, as you're going to be working with 3 different colors, you want to just every now and then untangle your skeins of yarn. If you have a different method, like I know some people use the bobbles and they kind of just get a little bit of the yarn and wind it around that, you can do that. But I'm just going to keep my yarn on the skeins. And for row 2, with that green color, you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to turn your work. You're going to skip the 3 double crochets, which is this right here, and you're going to be working into the skip chains from the previous row. So basically you're going to be working in those 3 chains right there, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of those chains. So find your first chain. So 1, 2, and 3, find your first chain. And it might be a little bit tricky because it's the beginning of your blanket, but find that first chain and make your double crochet. And you're simply just going to go right over the chain 3 and make your double crochet. And now take your time with this because, as I said, because it is the beginning of your blanket, it's going to be a little bit tricky just because you don't have a lot of material to hold on to. So just really take your time with it. Find that next chain and make your double crochet. As you do more rows, it will be a little bit easier. And you're going to be working right over that chain 3. Just like that. We have one more chain left. Okay, so now we have our 3 double crochets. We're going to skip the chain 3 right here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip the 3 double crochets. So chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Skip those 3 double crochets, and you're going to be working into the skip chains from the previous row. And again, you're going to be working 1 double crochet in the 3 chains. So skip those 3 double crochets and working in the chains from the foundation chain, you're going to go ahead and make 1 double crochet into each of those. Again, just take your time. And make sure you have 3 double crochets. Okay, so this is what your pattern is starting to look like. So continue making that pattern. So chain 3, skip over the 3 double crochets, and go into the foundation chain and work 1 double crochet in each of those 3 chains. Continue doing that until you have 3 double crochets left. So when you get to the very end, you're going to stop when you get to this section right here. So continue with that pattern, stop when you get to this section, and I'll show you how to end row 2. Okay, so I just finished the last section. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to skip the 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and with your last stitch, or the chain 3, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch. So where you have that stitch marker, which is going to be the top of that chain 3, go ahead and make a slip stitch. However, I'm just going to insert my hook, I'm going to drop my green color, and I'm going to pick up my last color, which is that linen color, leave a little bit of a tail, yarn over your hook, and then you're just going to pull through. Just like that. Again, get your 2 tails, and go ahead and tighten. So moving on to row 3, you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and turn your work. And you're going to work in the skip stitches from the previous row. So you have your 2 stitches right here, so 1 and 2. That chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet. So finding the tops of the stitches, so the red stitches, you have 2 of them, you're going to work right into the top of that stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, and then you're going to chain 3, you're going to skip the 3 double crochets, and again working into the skip stitches from the previous row, you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. I also forgot to mention that in row 2 you should have a total of 66 double crochets. So for row 1 you should have 69 double crochets, row 2 you should have 66 double crochets, and row 3 you should have a total of 69 double crochets. So after you make your 2 double crochets, chain 3, skip over the 3 double crochets, and working into the red stitches, you should have 3 of them. You might have to move your stitch over a little bit to see. 1, 2, and 3. Insert your hook into that top of the red double crochet and make your double crochet as normal. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Skip over the 3 green double crochets, and working in the next section you should have 3 red double crochets. Working into the top of the red stitches, make 1 double crochet in each of those stitches. And here is how your pattern is starting to form. You'll see that plaid pattern starting to form, especially the more rows that you make. So continuing with row 3, you're just going to continue this all the way across. So chain 3, skip over that next section, which is the green double crochets. Find your red stitches and make 1 double crochet in the tops of those red double crochet stitches. And you want to make sure that you're working over that chain 3 as well to hide it in between your stitches. So for row 3, you're going to repeat this all the way across, all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you should have 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So continue this until the end of the row, and I'll meet you for row 4. Okay, so I'm coming up towards the end, and I have 3 stitches remaining. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish that up. Again, you might have to move your stitches over a little bit just to see the final stitch. And you're just gonna make your final double crochet. You're gonna stop with that color and you're gonna pick up your red color, and you're just gonna work along with your next color. So like I said, when you work the different colors, you're just going to be you're going to have the yarn just work up alongside the blanket, and then once we do the border, it will go ahead and hide that. Okay, so for row 4, we're going to go ahead and chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to turn your work. And for row 4, we're going to skip the first 3 double crochets, which are going to be right here, and you're going to work into the skip stitches from the previous row. So in the next 3 stitches, which in this case is going to be the green stitches, you're going to work 1 double crochet in each of those stitches. Again, you're going to be working right over that chain 3 in that linen color and working into the tops of that green double crochet. Okay, next you're going to go ahead and chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Skip over the next 3 double crochets and working into the tops of the green double crochets, make 1 double crochet. Chain 3, skip over the next 3 double crochets and working into the green double crochets, work 1 double crochet in each of the 3. Okay, you're going to repeat this pattern all the way across, and as you can see, the more rows you make, the more you're going to see that beautiful plaid pattern forming. So continue working the chain 3, skipping over the double crochets, working 1 double crochet into each of those green stitches until you get to the last 3 double crochets. When you get to the last 3 double crochets, I will show you how to end row 4 and continue working on to the next row. Okay, so I'm over at the end of row 4. You're going to chain 3, and you're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the very last stitch, and it's going to be the top of the chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to insert my hook with that red color. I'm going to drop my red color, pick up my green, and finish the stitch with that green. And then you're going to pull your tails together and you're going to continue with the pattern. So that's row 4. So to continue the pattern, you're going to change colors every row, just dropping your color and picking up the new color. You're going to repeat rows 3 and 4 for the pattern. As you can see, the plaid pattern is starting to form. The more that you make, the more your pattern is going to stand out. When we get to the final row, we're going to go ahead and start to form the last part of our blanket. Okay, so I finished my blanket, and on the very last row, which is also going to be the first round of your border, at least the top of it. So I ended up making a total of 89 rows, and for your 90th row, we're going to be doing something a little bit different just to close that gap up a little bit. So go ahead and chain 3 and turn, and then you're going to be working into the skipped stitches from the previous row, which are going to be these stitches right here in the green. So what you're going to do is you're going to double crochet into the next 2 stitches, into those skip stitches. So 1, 1, 2. You're going to go ahead and single crochet in the next 3 double crochets. So you're going to skip this last one, and in the white you're going to make a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in each of those next 3 double crochets. Working into the skip stitches, you're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 3. So working in the green stitches, go ahead and make 1 double crochet. Okay, and then you're just going to repeat this all the way across. So in your 3 white stitches, go ahead and make 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. When you get to your green stitches, make 1 double crochet in each of those 3 stitches. So you're just going to alternate with the single crochet and the double crochet. The double crochet stitches are going to help close up that gap, and the single crochet stitches are just going to get you over to the other side. So continue this all the way to the end of your blanket until you get to the first corner. Once we get to the first corner, I'll show you how to make the corner stitch, as well as move on to the rest of the border of the blanket. Okay, when you get to the corner, for the corner stitch, you're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all into that same stitch. Working down the side of your blanket, you're going to work 2 single crochets in the side of each stitch all the way to the corner. So you're going to see these stitches right here at the end, and you're just going to work 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. So you're basically working in the double crochet stitches, or the chain stitches rather. And you're just going to work 2 along the sides, so basically 2 for each color. So continue that until you get to the corner, working 2 single crochets all the way down. Okay, so I'm over at my next corner, and again for the corner, you're just going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet all in that corner stitch. Working along the bottom of your blanket, you're just going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch across. When you get to the corner, you're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the corner, and then working along the other side of your blanket, you're going to do the same thing you did with the first side, which is make 2 single crochets in each of these stitches on the sides. So this is what your side of the blanket is going to look like. So for each color, you're going to have 2 single crochets per color. So continue working the border, and I will meet you at the final corner and begin round 2 of the border with you. Okay, so I'm over at my last corner, and I'm just going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in that same corner. Okay, so then you have that little bit of a gap, and I'm just going to go ahead and make 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. You're going to find that very first double crochet, And you're going to slip stitch that, and then you're going to cut your yarn. And then I'm just going to yarn over, pull through, and then pull to tighten. And that is what your first round of your border is going to be. If you do want to make another round, you're just going to attach a new color. So I'm going to attach my green color, and you're going to make a single crochet in each stitch around your blanket, making the corner stitch, which again is the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And for that you'll be working in the chain 2 corner space. So go ahead and just insert your hook in any stitch. Leave a little bit of a tail. Yarn over with that new color and pull through. If you have a different joining method, you can certainly do that. You're going to chain 1, and working in the same direction, you're going to be going in that very first stitch and making a single crochet. Working along the top of your blanket, you're just going to be working 1 single crochet in each stitch across. I'll meet you at the first corner. Okay, so I'm over at my first corner and I have 1 stitch remaining. In that chain 2 space, you're going to work right into that space and work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. When you get to the side of your blanket, in the remaining 3 sides, you're just going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch across. When you get to that corner, you're going to do the same thing, working into that chain 2 space, make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Continue with this method for the remainder of the border, and then I will show you how to end your blanket and weave in your ends. Okay, so I'm coming up on my last corner here. So I'm going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in that same chain 2 space. And then I'm just going to make a slip stitch into that very first stitch made. To close my round. So then you're going to get your scissors and you're going to cut a little bit of a tail. You're going to yarn over, and I'm just going to pull through and then pull to tighten. So then you're going to get a tapestry needle and you're going to weave in your ends, and this is going to be the same method for all of your ends. And you're just going to work in between the stitches to hide your tail. And I like to stay with the same color just to really hide those ends. So I'm just going to go in one direction in between these stitches. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I just finished right here. I'm going to skip this first strand right here. And I'm just going to go in the opposite direction. And if you feel like your tail end is secure, you can stop here. Otherwise, you can go in the opposite direction one more time. I'm just going to stop right here. And then I'm going to get my tail end and cut close to the fabric. And then I'm pretty much done. And you're going to do the same thing for the rest of the tail ends. So let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the blanket. So this is what your finished blanket will look like. It's a very pretty pattern. You can always make this in different colors instead of the traditional Christmas colors like I did here. You can always make this blanket a little bit longer if you would like as well, or wider depending on your preference. So thank you so much for joining me today on learning how to make the Christmas Plaid Throw Blanket. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!